comment,
and subscribe for more content.
Where's the notification bell?
It's to the right of you.
Oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Podcast. I'm DK Wrestler.
And I'm MD Shady.
And only in this podcast would you listen to us be in the middle of July, yet we are still talking about June 2022 pops, which, yes, we're a little behind on the Funko Pop announcements due to having our special 150th episode on the SDCC exclusives on July 1st. Then last week's edition of a Funko Popcast was our fourth edition of It's All About Soda Figures, which anyone who had listened to our All Soda Figures podcast last week, thank you very much. It was a great podcast to record. And we had done that because I was on a wrestling tour during that week, and we had pre-recorded it in case I wasn't back in time to actually do a podcast during that week. But I actually did end up coming home earlier than expected, which we could have done like a normal pop podcast, but we thought we'd continue and give you guys the soda podcast for last week. So we're back here, but we have a ton of Funko Pops to go through as terms to the remaining pops of June 2022. And then also we do have our segment, The Update, that will update the top 10 list from a couple weeks ago after discussing about SDCC exclusives. So without further ado, we'll divide the reveals in half, kicking off with the first set of reveals, which range from June 15th during SDCC reveals all the way to June 22nd. So first off, June 15th, Funko would announce a set of pops for Obi-Wan Wednesdays for the Obi-Wan Kenobi lineup, which we have a common pop of Colin Roken and then a GameStop exclusive Darth Vader, which these are expected to release as early as August 2022. Then on June 16th, during the final day of SDCC reveals, Funko had announced a pop of Elsa Bloodstone for the Marvel lineup, which was revealed to be a Walgreens exclusive, and it is available now both in stores and online while supplies last. Then on June 17th, Funko had announced a set of NFT pops for My Little Pony, which we have pops of Sunset Shimmer, Queen Chrysalis, Princess Luna, and Mod Pie, which are limited to 1,550 pieces. Rarity, which was limited to 999 pieces, and then Freddy Funko Spike, limited to 2,400 pieces. And those had released on, I believe it was June 28th, so the cards have been long and gone at this point, with the redemption period happening 3 months from now. On that same day, Funko would announce the next pop involved in the Red Saber series Pop Deluxe set for Star Wars, which is of Savage Opress, which this is exclusive to GameStop and will be releasing soon. On that same day, Funko would announce pops for the TV series Ozark, which we got pops of Marty, Wendy, and Ruth, which these are expected to release as early as September 2022. On that same day, Funko had announced another set of pops for the Disney Plus series Ms. Marvel, which we got ourselves Bruno and Kamala Khan, which those are expected to release as early as September 2022. And last but not least, on June 17th, Funko had announced the next pop VHS covers, which is of Hercules, in which this is an Amazon exclusive, and this is expected to release as early as February 2023. Then on June 20th, Funko had announced the next pop involved in the Guardianship Pop Deluxe set for Avengers Infinity War, which is of Rocket Raccoon. This is a Walmart exclusive and is expected to release as early as October 2022. On that same day, Funko had announced on their website of a Belle with Gold dress for the Disney Ultimate Princess lineup, which this is a Funko Shop exclusive, and it actually did recently release a couple days ago on the Funko Shop. Assuming how these pops have been, it should still be available. On that same day, Funko had also announced on their website of a Funko Shop exclusive clicker with black shirt from the PlayStation lineup, more specifically, I believe The Last of Us, in which that is available now on the Funko Shop website. Then on June 21st, Hot Topic had announced their own exclusive pop of Hanako, which we got ourselves a normal version and then a 1-in-6 chase variant of him holding a knife, in which that is available now both online and in stores at Hot Topic. And on that same day, Funko had announced a metallic Stitch that will be a part of a pop and bag bundle collaborating with Loungefly, in which that was available June 24th, but has since sold out. Then on June 22nd, Funko announced a set of pops for, I believe, the upcoming Game of Thrones prequel series, House of the Dragon, which we got ourselves common pops, which I know I'm going to butcher these names, so I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing them wrong, of Syrax, Rhaenyra Targaryen, Corlys Velaryon, Alicent Hightower, Viserys Targaryen, Otto Hightower, Daemon Targaryen with Egg, which is going to be a Funko Shop exclusive, and then announced was an Alicent Hightower with Dagger, which is going to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive shared with Amazon that releases next week. And the majority of these pops, they're expected to release as early as October 2022. And last but not least, for this set of Funko Pops, we got more pops for the Obi-Wan Kenobi set, which we got ourselves a Obi-Wan Kenobi hooded pop, which is going to be exclusive to the Funko Shop. And then we got ourselves an exclusive 5-pack going to Walmart involving the common pops of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader, Reva, Colin Roken, and Tala Durif, in which unknown yet of when these will be releasing. So kicking off with the Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi pops, these are meh. I remember the Colin character. I think he was pretty decent, but the Darth Vader, even though I do like Darth Vader, this is just, it's not that appealing. We've seen a lot of Darth Vaders that pretty much look identical to this. We got Elsa Bloodstone, which is okay. I mean, I don't know this character at all, but I mean, I do like the detail with the blaster she's got in her hand and the outfit, and especially the way that her hair is. I think that's also pretty decent. I don't know how well this has sold. Then we got the My Little Pony NFT pops, which this was a little bit unexpected. I never really thought that as an NFT option, there would be My Little Pony. I'm glad when this is announced because I'm always afraid when Funko does the NFT drops that it's going to end up being something that I really need in my collection and that I'd fork up a lot of money just to get the cards for a chance for the physical redemption items. But it's cool that it was something that I clearly am not interested in, but these are some pretty decent pops overall, especially I like the design of the character Rarity. I think my favorite pop, to be honest, out of all of these has to be the Freddy Funko Spike. It kind of gives me like Dudley the Dragon vibes, if anyone remembers Dudley the Dragon. Then we got Savage Opress, which this is sweet. We finally have Savage Opress. This is actually his first Funko Pop. You guys would have seen him in the Clone Wars, I believe, and I'm pretty sure Rebels also. And it's really cool that we finally have him. It's a cool way to debut a character for the Star Wars lineup is in a set like this. Overall, I am going to be getting this pop because I do have all 3 pops announced so far on pre-order over at my local GameStop. I know that Darth Sidious is already released in the States, but unfortunately has not released here in Canada yet, but I am going to be getting that. And I got the Darth Maul in pre-order. I can't wait to get Savage Opress. And clearly with the last 2 will be Count Dooku and Darth Vader. Then we got Ozark pops, which this is really cool. I really enjoyed the series of Ozark. I actually have not seen the final 2-part season yet. I think it's season 4 and it was divided into 2 parts. They did a pretty decent job on the characters, especially Ruth looks exactly like her with the detail of the hair. I really enjoy that. And overall, I think there has been a little bit of a mixed reaction. I can't exactly remember what the reasonings were to where there would be bad hype, but overall, there is a lot of good hype because Ozark is a great series and we finally have pops for it. Then we got ourselves the 2 pops from Ms. Marvel, which first off being Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno, which if anyone had gotten that joke, if you know, you know. These are okay. I can't exactly give an opinion on this, mainly because I still have not seen Ms. Marvel yet, even though I'm pretty sure actually today, as we're recording this podcast, which is July 13th, is the season finale of Ms. Marvel. So I'm going to have to catch up on Ms. Marvel and it will give me a better opinion on some of these pops. But overall, the Kamala Khan, the outfit's pretty cool. We got the Hercules pop VHS covers, which this is pretty decent, especially because around the time this was announced was the official 25th anniversary of when Hercules had released. And we actually did a top 10 video on our channel of the Hercules Funko Pops, which you guys definitely should check that out. And I think this is pretty decent. It's a cool way to have another pop of Hercules, but it's nothing really, in my opinion, compared to the Hercules pops that we have had so far in the set. Then we got the Rocket Raccoon Pop Deluxe, and this is meh. We kind of figured that Rocket Raccoon was going to be one of the last ones, and then obviously that last silhouette in the glam shot is going to be Groot, which, I mean, I'm sure people will get it just because of Rocket Raccoon, but at this point, especially with the way that the ship looks, you might have to get the whole set. I don't exactly know. This hasn't been one of my favorite deluxe sets, but the Rocket Raccoon is pretty decent, I guess. The Gold Dress Spell Pop. For those that listen to the podcast on a regular basis, you would know that we discuss about these pops a lot because it seems like Funko constantly announces them like once a month, maybe even not once a week, but on a basis to where we're talking about it almost every single pod. I don't know what to say, honestly, that isn't different from essentially what we've talked about with the last like 7 gold dress Disney pops. They're not that appealing. I mean, cool, you get a pin and a gold foil Funko Shop exclusive sticker, but that's all I gotta say. We got the clicker pop from, like I said, I believe it's Last of Us. This is okay. At first, when this was announced, I thought it was the GameStop exclusive that was originally announced, but I had to compare the two pops, and it's the fact that it has a black shirt instead of, I believe, a dark gray shirt, which I mean, I don't know the significance behind it, except maybe it's Funko being a little bit lazy and deciding, let's just add a color switch onto this, and that's about it. But the detail, obviously, a great looking pop. Then we got Hanako from the Toilet Bound Hanaku-kun. I couldn't even remember what the title was when I was just talking about this pop. This is pretty decent. It's a little bit of like a pop deluxe because he's sitting on a toilet. But as terms of the common and the chase, it's one of those things again, like I can't remember the pop where it was a slight change in the chase where the chase was a little bit better. And I felt like they could have just skipped out on the common and not even make it and then just make a singular pop of this. Chase obviously is better because he's holding an object. I don't know the significance, but overall, the detail of the character is pretty cool. Then we got the metallic Stitch, more specifically the experiment. I think it's 626 Stitch, which is pretty cool. I do enjoy the pop and bag bundles depending on what it is. This is pretty decent, especially for those who couldn't obtain this pop originally when it had released, because I believe it is high up in price in terms of the original one at this point. Then we have the House of the Dragon pops. These are okay. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of the Game of Thrones pops to begin with. So now we have these ones. And I mean, some of them are pretty decent, like the detail of the dragon. They always have the cool details in terms of the dragon. And then you have the character that's a Funko Shop exclusive holding the egg. I think that's decent. I found it kind of funny when the SDTC exclusive was announced, how people for some reason thought that this was Fiona from Shrek, which I do kind of see the resemblance with the red hair and the green dress, but obviously the dagger gives it away because obviously Fiona would have never held a dagger. And then we have the Obi-Wan Kenobi pops. And I mean, we have the hooded version, which is meh because it's the exact same molding, I'm pretty sure, as the other Obi-Wan Kenobi pop. That's a singular pop. And I guess I should say in that Walmart exclusive 5-pack, except this time it has a hood on. I'm sure that it's not a pop and tee bundle, unfortunately, even though there is a t-shirt beside it. But I think it's separate because they don't show the box art for it. But if it is a pop and tee bundle, then I think it'd be more worth getting because that t-shirt looks awesome.
Okay, starting out with the Obi-Wan Wednesdays pops. These are okay. The Darth Vader's decent. I suppose it's better than the first one that we got, but I'm really hoping that we see a Darth Vader in, how can I put this, a different way that he looks in the series without giving any spoilers to the series. If any of our listeners haven't watched it yet, I really hope we see that version of Darth Vader. I think that would be awesome, but so far the Obi-Wan pops are just okay. Then we have Elsa Bloodstone, and this is an okay pop. It's not amazing, but it is cool to see a Marvel character that we don't generally see pops of or really even hear about. So that's awesome. And it makes perfect sense for this to be a Walgreens exclusive. Then we have the newest set of NFT pops with My Little Pony, and this is interesting. I don't mind this, and I have to agree with DK where I don't care enough about My Little Pony to personally get these NFTs, but I do really enjoy the Freddy Funko as Spike. I also do enjoy Rarity. And then we have the next pop for the Red Saber series with Savage Press, and this is pretty awesome. It's obviously, like DK said, the first time we're seeing a pop of Savage Press, which I'm really surprised by because I feel like they could pop out a bunch of them. But this is the first one we got, and honestly, it looks awesome. Then we have pops for Ozark, and these are okay. If you're a fan of the show, you could probably say like, oh, I know these characters, but I have yet to watch it. So these really just look like human pops to me, and there's nothing too special about them, I guess. Then we have the two new pops for Miss Marvel, and these are okay as well. Still haven't watched the show. It is kind of on my list. I think I will probably get around to watching it, but I don't know. It just doesn't interest me a whole lot, but these pops look decent. Then we have the next VHS covers with Hercules, and this is pretty cool. One gripe that I have with it is the posing on the pop itself doesn't look exactly like the VHS cover, but it's understandable considering the kind of pose that Hercules is doing would be hard to do with a pop considering the size of their head. So I think they did a good job of trying to get it as accurate as they can. This personally isn't one of my favorite of the VHS covers that we've seen, but it's definitely not bad. And then next up, we have the next pop for the Guardian ship. This is okay with Rocket Raccoon. As we've talked about each one of these pops, I've definitely had not a great opinion on this build-a-set type of pop. But as I'm seeing it come together, it is looking a little bit better, but still, this isn't one of my favorite build-a-sets. Then we have the next of the Funko Shop exclusive gold dress princesses, I guess is what I'll call them. And yeah, I still can't believe we're still talking about these pops, how they're still coming out. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not amazing. I do like the fact that you get a pin, and honestly, the sticker being gold is honestly my favorite part about these pops. Then we have the Funko Shop exclusive clicker, and this is okay. I don't know. I definitely thought that we had seen this pop before, and DK reassured me of that. So I don't know. This isn't an amazing announcement, but it is a cool looking pop. And then next up, we have the Hot Topic exclusive Hanako, and this pop is pretty sweet. It is kind of like a deluxe pop because he kind of does have this cool base with the toilet. And overall, there's a lot of detail with it, but I do have to agree with DK that this is one of those chases where it's kind of unnecessary, but at the same time, I understand why Funko would do it because with a lot of these anime type pops, when there is a chase, people go wild for them and want them, and they generally go up in value pretty quickly. But this is one that is just a simple item change. He just gets an item in his hand. So yeah, this could have easily just been one singular pop. And then we have the metallic Stitch, which is the pop and bag bundle. This is pretty cool. I like this pop. This is my favorite Stitch pop, at least the original one. And I don't mind this one being metallic. I think it looks cool. I like the way that his attire looks with the metallic and the blasters that he has being metallic as well. And overall, his his face or fur, I guess you could say, being metallic. It doesn't really make sense, but I do think it looks decent with this pop. And then we have the pops for House of the Dragon, and these are okay. If you are a Game of Thrones fan, I definitely think that these pops would be awesome to add to a large Game of Thrones collection, but they're not much different than anything else we've seen with Game of Thrones. Maybe even not as good because there was some pretty cool Game of Thrones pops, but I don't know. Maybe I'll check out the show and my opinion might change if I end up falling in love with it, but I doubt that will happen. And then lastly, we have the rest of the Obi-Wan Wednesdays pops with the hooded Obi-Wan. And this is okay. I don't mind this pop, but yeah, it is just kind of a change up where he has the hood on. This could be a chase for the other pop that we've seen, and I think that would be all right. But it is a separate pop, so I don't know. It's all right. Then I guess I'll talk about the t-shirt quickly. And yeah, that's a pretty sweet t-shirt. I love how it's separated with the blue and the red to show the Kenobi and the Vader. I think that that's awesome. And then lastly, we have the 5-pack, and this is kind of ridiculous. I mean, there's no need for this. And overall, because of how good the Obi-Wan series was, at least in my opinion, I was super excited to see awesome pops. But overall, we just have not seen very many good pops for the Obi-Wan series.
Are you looking for great pop protectors? Then look no further than popbox.ca. They have a variety of 4-inch and 6-inch protectors in different quantities. Do you want to get 10 protectors, 20? You can get even up to 250 pop protectors over on popbox.ca. And also use our promo code of Funko Popcast for 10% off of your entire purchase of pop protectors. The code is going on until supplies last. So go get your pop protector needs now over on popbox.ca using our code of Funko Popcast to get 10% off.
And let me tell you guys, we're not just screwing around here. These are some great pop protectors. We own a multitude of these protectors. They are some of the best I've seen. Stop buying from EB Games. I'm not boycotting EB Games by any means, but their pop protectors are not as good. So again, use code of Funko Popcast for 10% off.
All right, so moving on to the next set of Funko Pops, ranging from June 23rd to June 30th, which kicking off June 23rd, we have a Alice Cooper Pop albums for his album Welcome to My Nightmare, which this is expected to release as early as October 2022. On that same day, Funko had announced new pops of BTS for their song Butter, which we got ourselves pops, obviously, of RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, which there are singular pops that are commons, and then an exclusive 7-pack that will be going to Walmart, and these are expected to release as early as October 2022. On that same day, Funko had announced a new wave of NHL Funko Pops, which this set we have pops of William Karlsson of the Vegas Golden Knights, Jamie Benn of the Dallas Stars, Patrice Bergeron of the Boston Bruins, Philip I can't say his name. All right, the guy from the Seattle Kraken, Nathan McKinnon from the Colorado Avalanche, Patrick Kane from the Chicago Blackhawks. And then we have an exclusive Canadian pop of William Nylander from the Toronto Maple Leafs, in which these are expected to release as early as August 2022. And last but not least, on that day, Funko had announced a pop of Rob Halford from Judas Priest as a part of the Rock set, in which this is expected to release as early as August 2022. Then on June 24th, Funko had announced the next pop involved in the Sinister Six Pop Deluxe set, which is of Mysterio, Amazon exclusive, and is expected to release as early as September 2022. Then we have a pop of Najma from Ms. Marvel, which this is expected to release as early as September 2022. On that same day, Funko had announced a new set of Queen Pops, which we got ourselves a Freddie Mercury in the Flash Gordon Pop albums. We have a Diamond Collection King Freddie Mercury, which will be a Big Apple Collectibles exclusive. And then we have ourselves an exclusive 4-pack going to Walmart of the 4 original common Queen Pops, which these are expected to release as early as August 2022. And last but not least, on that date, Pop Culture had confirmed an exclusive glow-in-the-dark Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender, in which this is available now on Pop Culture's website with restricted shipping to the US. Then on June 26th, both GameStop and Entertainment Earth had respectively announced their own exclusive Stitch Pops from Lilo and Stitch, which GameStop had announced a Gamer Stitch and Entertainment Earth had announced an Annoyed Stitch, which these are expected to release as early as August 2022. Then on June 27th, Funko had announced more pops for the Disney Plus series Loki, which first off, we got ourselves Frog of Thunder and then a Loki and Sylvie pop moments, which both of these are exclusive to Target and have been showing up at Target stores. Then on that same day, Funko had announced pop trading cards for NFL players, which we got ourselves Patrick Mahomes II, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, and we have ourselves Justin Herbert with exclusive pops with a gold foil card background that will be exclusive to Panini, in which these are expected to release as early as September 2022. Then on June 28th, Funko had announced another Pop VHS covers, and it's of Stitch for Lilo and Stitch, in which this is going to be an Amazon exclusive, and this is expected to release as early as October 2022. Then on June 29th, Funko had announced another set of Obi-Wan Kenobi pops for the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series, which we have ourselves Artist Series pops of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. And then we have a 2-pack of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader of the common pops. And all 3 of these, you can say, are Target exclusives, unknown yet of when they'll be releasing. On that same day, Funko had announced a pop of Mariah Carey for the song Fantasy, in which that's expected to release as early as September 2022. And last but not least, on June 30th, Funko had announced a pop of My Melody for the Sanrio lineup, which is going to be exclusive to Hot Topic, and this is expected to release as early as August 2022. Okay, so kicking off with the Alice Cooper pop albums, which this is pretty decent. I like how they were able to capitalize on what the cover looks like with the top hat and the whole suit and everything. I think they did a pretty decent job. Then we got the BTS pops, which these are okay. I mean, we've already seen, I think, 2 sets of BTS pops. So that's literally a total of 14 pops originally for singles. And now you got 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, if my calculations were correct. BTS pops just in the singulars. And then you got 7 packs, I think, for all 3 of them now. And I like the hairstyles of all 7 of them. The 7 pack definitely makes sense, especially if you're going to get all 7, you might as well get the 7 pack and it comes in a decent looking package instead of just getting all 7 of the singular pops. Then we got the NHL pops, including the brand new goalie pop of whoever his name is. I can't pronounce his name, from the Seattle Kraken. This is a mess set. Besides the fact of the new goalie pop for Seattle Kraken and then the Canadian exclusive William Nylander, this whole set has pops of players that have already been made before. Like I remember William Karlsson being in stores with the home jersey. Patrice Bergeron has had his own pop, and same with Jamie Benn. And then I'm pretty sure both Nathan McKinnon and Patrick Kane have had their own pops. It would have been cool to get like some more Legends pops. Like I know there were some Legends that got announced last year that people were pretty excited about. And I guess people were mentioning in the comments, those haven't actually been released yet, which is a little bit surprising. There's no new Pittsburgh Penguins pops, so I still got to wait for new Pittsburgh Penguins pops. And especially there's no Washington Capitals pops, so MD probably won't be getting any of these pops into his collection. But it is cool to see a new Maple Leafs pop that isn't a repeat of like Austin Matthews. Then we have the Judas Priest pop. This is okay. I mean, I don't really know too much about Judas Priest, even though that's kind of up my realm. I don't listen to too much of today's music. I think it's a little garbage, but this is pretty cool to see bands like Judas Priest, who have not had pops yet, get their own pops. And oh, I can't remember what the name of the character was now, but someone was mentioning that this looks like a certain character from South Park, and I can't exactly remember what the character's name was. Then we got ourselves the beyond amazing Sinister Six Pop Deluxe set with Mysterio, and I was waiting for this to get announced. This was kind of like, I guess, the most hyped out of the set that I was hoping to see finally get announced, and that's because this is the first time ever that we have Mysterio in comic book form in a pop form, because all the other Mysterio pops we've gotten were from the Spider-Man Far From Home movie, where either it's him like levitating or you have him unmasked, or you even have, I believe there was like a lights pop where you press a button and it glows that way. But we've never gotten comic book accurate Mysterio. So it's cool that we do have it now. I really enjoy that kind of dark green base that goes along with it, even though there's already a base of the ground with it. It's just an added base, and I think they did a really cool job with this pop. Definitely my favorite so far, just because of the fact we haven't gotten comic book Mysterio before. Then we have Rajma, or whatever her name is, from Ms. Marvel. Nothing I could really say about this. It's in a simplistic fight pose, and I haven't seen Ms. Marvel. Then we got the new Queen pops, which, I mean, it's pretty decent that we have another pop album, but I don't know about it being, I believe now this is the 3rd pop albums we have gotten for Queen, where the first one was News of the World, and then we had the deluxe albums of the greatest hits, and now we have this album, which, I mean, I do like it because we have a brand new pop of Freddie Mercury. It's not like they repurposed a Freddie Mercury pop, put a specification or something, and then put it into that albums. It's a brand new mold with the new attire on as terms to Freddie Mercury. So I do enjoy the pop and the album overall. The Diamond Collection Big Apple Collectibles pop of King Freddie Mercury, I guess this is okay. It kind of makes sense because of the crown to be glitter, and especially I guess you can have the cape and part of the outfit glitter also. So I'm not going to crap on that too much, but I mean, it would have been better to see. Well, I mean, you can't really make newer pops for Queen unless you made like Adam Lambert, who is the current singer of Queen. But I mean, I'm sure that people would hate all over that. And then we have the exclusive 4-pack, which once again, not liking how you have common pops slapped into a 4-pack, but at the same time, I'm going to let this one slide because a lot of those Queen pops that are common pops are rising up in price, especially last I remember that Brian May pop that I actually bought to gift to my dad for, I believe, his birthday or Father's Day one year, has risen up in price. So now if you never obtained those classic Queen pops, you can get them now in this exclusive 4-pack. So I guess that's kind of cool, but it might drop the value of these older Queen pops now that the 4-pack is coming out. Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is a pretty cool looking pop. I really love the base that's going along with it, like the whole water base and how it's almost wrapping around the entire pop. I think that's really cool, and the hair flowing in the wind. Still have not seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, but this is a really cool looking pop. We have the Stitch pops, which these are pretty decent. I mean, Gamer Stitch is pretty cool with the tongue sticking out, and he has the what looks to be like Nintendo 64 or Super Nintendo controller that's like red and yellow or yellowish green. I think that's pretty decent. And then Annoyed Stitch is actually a pretty decent Stitch, to be honest. I mean, I haven't really been enjoying the Stitch pops as of late, but I can't exactly remember what scene, but I remember there was a scene where like Stitch was annoyed and he just like scrapes his eyes, and like you can see like the bottom of like, I guess you can say his eyelids there when he's scratching his face there. So I think it's cool that they made that into a pop, and I think it's going to be a decent seller. We have the new Loki pops, which these are decent, I guess. They're okay, but they're decent at the same time because I felt like we could have just gotten away with that SDCC exclusive, and then that could have been it. I felt like there really didn't need to be more Loki pops unless these were in the works before then. And the fact, of course, the pandemic, these were delayed. But Frog of Thunder, I don't exactly remember like the scene involving Frog of Thunder. And then the Loki and Sylvie moment, I guess, okay, one pop that could have been made and they finally made is this moment. So I guess now, hopefully, this could be the end of the Loki pops because I can't exactly think of anything else that Funko could make for this series because they did a lot for this series as it is. Then we have the pop trading cards for NFL, and these are okay. I mean, we had the basketball ones, I believe, or is MLB. I can't remember. Now we have NFL, which this is pretty decent. I'm not really a fan about the Panini exclusives, and that the only difference is that with the cards, it is essentially like a gold foil at the end of the card. I felt like they could have even made the pops possibly like metallic because of the helmets involved. I think if they would have even added a slight specification change, then it would have made it a little bit better because all it is just that background. And it's like, really, I'm just going to buy essentially the same pop because the background is just a slight different color. I mean, it makes sense for the card aspect. I was originally discussing about with MD outside of the pod about NHL pop trading cards, and the fact that I don't know if they would make one for Panini because of the fact that Panini doesn't do NHL cards. But upon further research, I actually found out that within the last year, Panini is the official card maker for WWE. So could there be a chance that we could get pop trading cards for the WWE lineup? And if they do, what exactly could they make the cards of and what superstars? So that'd be pretty interesting to see in the near future. Then we got the Lilo and Stitch pop VHS covers, and this is pretty cool. I do enjoy the fact that they have like almost a deluxe involved with this, where it's Stitch, he's on the surfboard, and you have the wave of water going on. But I think my only gripe is, should they have done it with Stitch, or could they have done it with either Lilo or what was her name? Nani, I think her name is. I can't exactly remember, but the other character that's involved exactly placed where the Stitch pop is for the VHS covers. If they would have added that, I think that would have been a little bit better. But overall, it's cool that they pulled this off as more of a deluxe inside of this pop VHS covers. We have the Obi-Wan Kenobi pops, which these are a little meh. I think it's so weird that this was like the last reveal as the last episode was coming out. And then this is what they announced, where you have two artist series pops, which first of all, that Obi-Wan Kenobi mold is not even from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It's an old repurposed Obi-Wan Kenobi pop. And then they just added artist series to it. And then that Darth Vader pop is also meh. I mean, the 4 pops we got earlier in the year with the Darth Vader pops involving the planets, I think those turned out really well. And then you got this, which is like going back to what we think of artist series pops, which are meh. And then you got 2 singular pops that were already made, slapped into a 2-pack with the Target exclusive sticker. And that's all I got to say. It's a little bit of a letdown for Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesdays. The new Mariah Carey pop, that's pretty decent. I mean, it's cool that there's more Mariah Carey pops on the way, I guess, especially because the only one we had was the All I Want for Christmas pop, considering that a lot of people know of Mariah Carey just from that music video. But for the ones that actually listen to Mariah Carey outside of the Christmas song, it's cool that we have another variant. And then My Melody from the Sanrio lineup. This is okay. I guess it's cool that we're getting more variants of My Melody instead of different repeats of Hello Kitty per se.
Okay, starting off with the new Alice Cooper pop albums. This is pretty sweet. I'm happy that Alice Cooper is getting a pop album. I own at least one of the Pop Rocks Alice Coopers, and I think that pop or two that I have are pretty awesome. So I probably will end up getting this pop albums. I think it looks pretty sweet and it's accurate to the art on the album itself. Then we have the new BTS pops, and I can't believe we're still getting more BTS pops, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I bet that the BTS pops are probably selling pretty well considering they're pumping out like 7 at a time, plus the 7-pack. And yeah, if you're going to get them, I probably would get the 7-pack. I remember when the first 7-pack came out, I was like, wow, this is crazy. A pack of 7 pops is awesome. And the way that they put it in the box looks so cool. So yeah, this is okay. I definitely don't mind this at all. Then we have the new wave of NHL pops featuring the Seattle Kraken goalie, Philip Grubauer, which is actually a former goalie of the Washington Capitals. They actually drafted him. So that's cool. It's cool to see a Seattle pop and a new goalie pop. And then the rest of the set is pretty much all pops that we've seen before, just with different jerseys, which is kind of unfortunate. And then we do have that Nathan McKinnon as well, which I definitely think could have been one of those instances where there could be a chase version with the Stanley Cup, considering Nathan McKinnon is now a Stanley Cup champion, but this was probably in the works before that actually happened. So that's understandable. And then we have the Canadian exclusive William Nylander. And I think it's cool that we're getting a Nylander pop. I think that's awesome. But at the same time, this doesn't really look like William Nylander to me. I think that they probably could have skipped out on putting the beard on him. I feel like when he has a beard, it's not really that thick. The mustache is okay, but my biggest gripe is that his hair is way too orange. He has more of a like dirty blonde type of hair, and it's not orange like this. But yeah, it does suck that we haven't seen any Pittsburgh Penguins or Washington Capitals. Then we have the Judas Priest pop, and this is okay. I'm not a huge fan of Judas Priest. I don't mind their music, but I feel like with the amount of awesome pop albums we've been seeing, I've definitely been collecting pop rocks a lot less than I used to a couple of years ago. And then we have the 4th of 7 for the Beyond Amazing set. And this is cool. We have Mysterio. This is awesome. I really enjoy how it looks. And I can't wait to buy all of these pops. I definitely have to have all of these. They look so cool. Then we have that other Miss Marvel pop. And this is okay. I think this will probably be a shelf sitter pop, if I'm being honest, because there's not a whole lot going on with it. There's not a ton of detail, and it is just one of those human pops. Then we have the Queen / Freddie Mercury Flash Gordon pop albums, and this is pretty sweet. Another Queen pop albums is awesome. And like DK said, where it's not just a Freddie Mercury we've already seen, they actually gave us a new Freddie Mercury, so that is awesome. And then we have the Big Apple Collectibles Diamond Collection Freddie Mercury, and this is pretty sweet. I like this. It makes a whole lot of sense to be Diamond Collection because he's got the crown and the whatever you call it. I guess I'll call it a cape. I know that's not what it's called though. So that's awesome. I think this pop's going to look sweet, and I would probably consider putting that into my Pop Rocks lineup. And then the Walmart exclusive 4-pack. This is okay. We don't normally like when pops get shoved into a 4-pack together, but I do think that this makes sense, though we kind of already get this with the deluxe Queen album, so it's all right. Then we have the glow-in-the-dark Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and this pop looks sweet. I mean, the base is awesome, and the way that the hair is flowing with the way that the base kind of flows as well, I think looks great. This is an awesome looking pop. Next up, we have the Gamer Stitch, and I always love these different types of gamer pops. I know that there was the Miles Morales one, as well as the Bart Simpson. I believe there's Mickey Mouse, and now we have Stitch. I think there's a few others as well, but I always enjoy these. I like how they look. They generally always have a headset on and then the controller, and I think that the tongue sticking out of Stitch's mouth is a great addition. It looks like he's getting right into the game, and yeah, this is a cool pop. And then we have the Entertainment Earth exclusive Stitch, and this one's awesome as well. Like DK said, I definitely remember this scene from Lilo and Stitch where, yeah, he pulls his eyelids down, and I think they did a great job of executing this. Whereas from what I can see, there's actually kind of some like indentations of the folds of his eyelids, which is a detail that they definitely did not have to put in, but it does make the pop look so much better. And then also having the 2 color tones with the inside of the eyelid, I think looks great as well. Again, they didn't really have to do that, but it's just that added detail that makes this pop really awesome. Next up, we have the Target exclusive Frog of Thunder, and This is a pretty sweet looking pop. I don't think we normally don't see pops like this quite often. And this is cool. I like how you have the pop and then he's inside of that jar. I think that that looks pretty sweet. And then there's the Moments pop, and this looks pretty cool. I don't mind it at all. But like DK said, there definitely has been a lot of Loki pops. So I don't think we'll be seeing very many more in the near future. And then we have the Panini cards for NFL, and this is pretty cool. I enjoy the fact of them doing this. I remember when we saw the albums for the first time. I think one of the things that we discussed about, at least me and DK off of the camera, talked about how we could potentially see trading cards. Now we do have a couple different sets of trading cards, which I think is awesome. I do hope that we get some NHL ones because I definitely need to add an Ovechkin if that were ever to be a thing. But I think that they would have to get a license through Upper Deck to be able to do that. So if they do, that'd be sweet. But overall, these NFL ones aren't bad. They look cool. And I think that DK had a great idea by saying with the gold foil ones, if they made the helmets metallic, I think that that's a great idea. And honestly, a missed opportunity. But I do think that these are going to be a decent hit for some hardcore NFL fans, or even just if you're a fan of a certain NFL team. I think these would look cool in a NFL like man cave. Then we have the Lilo and Stitch Pop VHS albums, or not albums, but covers. And this is pretty sweet. I really enjoy the way that this looks. I think that it makes sense to do Stitch because he kind of stole the movie. I mean, it's kind of all about him. And really, he's doing that with this VHS covers as well, because he's almost covering up the whole box art, I guess you could say. So that's all right. And it's awesome that it is a kind of like a deluxe pop because you have that wave with the surfboard, which I think is really cool. And we always talk about how there's a lot of Stitch pops, and we just talked about 4 different Stitch pops in one pod, which is crazy. I can't believe how many Stitch pops there are. And then next up, we have the Obi-Wan Wednesdays with the art series pops and the 2-pack. So I guess I'll talk about the 2-pack first. Unneeded, really unneeded. 2 pops that weren't amazing to begin with, and then just throw them in a 2-pack. Gosh. And then we have those art series pops. And yeah, I don't know. They're not great. But one thing that they do have going for them is that I enjoy the colors that they picked. With the Obi-Wan, you have the kind of sand tones and the browns, which is like his attire, but also kind of gives me the vibe of Tatooine, which is cool. But yeah, it's a pop that's not even from the Obi-Wan series, so that's kind of ridiculous. And then you have the Darth Vader, and it's cool as well because it does definitely give a Sith vibe with the grays, the blacks, and then the red that really pops. But overall, it's just some more artist series pops that aren't that great. Then we have Mariah Carey, and this is okay. I think that it's a decent Mariah Carey pop, but I think I like the Christmas one a bit more than this. But overall, it's not bad. And then lastly, we have the Hot Topic exclusive My Melody. And this is a decent looking pop, but I do think this is going to be one of those Hot Topic exclusives that just sit around forever at Hot Topic.
All right, so now moving on to our segment, The Update, which for those new to the podcast, The Update is a segment where we update the top 10 list from essentially what would be 2 weeks prior. Since now we are officially over and done with June 2022 reveals, we'll be finally moving on to July 2022 next week. And we're going to go through essentially our top 10, starting at essentially number 10 and work our way up until wherever the newest pop is. And then whatever doesn't get mentioned, you would have to listen to the podcast where we did do the top 10 list. So I'll go first, in which number 10 is a brand new pop added to my list, which is the Amazon exclusive Mysterio Sinister Six Pop Deluxe. And I think this is a great looking pop for how simplistic it is in terms of the base. I love the green smoke. I love the fact, personal reaction wise, how we have a comic book Mysterio now. And I think even out of all the Mysterios, including Far From Home, this has to be at least my favorite Mysterio that I have done. But it's at number 10 because there was a little bit of mixed hype that kind of cost this pop from essentially moving up my list per se. Coming in at number 9 is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with Hot Topic exclusive Starfire, which was originally number 8. Coming in at number 8 is the SDCC shared with Funko Shop 6-inch Young He from Squid Game, which was originally number 7. Coming in at number 7 is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with Box Lunch exclusive Gran Torino from My Hero Academia, which was originally number 6. Coming in at number 6 is the San Diego Comic-Con shared with Walmart exclusive glow-in-the-dark first appearance Supersonic, which was originally number 5. And now coming in at number 5, a brand new pop added to here, which the top 4 stays the same. And you'll have to listen to that podcast to find out what my top 4 was for the top 10 list of June 2022 pops. Which coming in at number 5 is the GameStop exclusive Glow in the Dark Sauvage Opress for the Red Saber series. And like I mentioned about this pop, I do enjoy the way that it looks. I like the posing, and I'm glad that we finally have a Sauvage Opress pop. It's a character that people have been wanting Funko to make for the Star Wars line for a while now. And this is a great way to essentially debut a character for a certain set of pops is through a Pop Deluxe set like this. So I am glad that we finally have this.
All right, so now it's my turn for the update. And honestly, with all the pops that we just talked about, the second half of June was a little lackluster in my opinion. There was a ton of pops and there was definitely some good ones, but there wasn't a ton of great stuff. But with that being said, there was one pop that I knew had to make the list, and that is the Beyond Amazing Mysterio, which is now coming in at number 10 on my list. And honestly, that's all that I've changed because there wasn't a ton of great pops.
All right, so that is going to be the end of this week's edition of a Funko Popcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you smash that like button, comment in the comment section below, and let us know your opinions of these pops that we had discussed below in today's podcast. Press the subscribe button for more content like this podcast and any other videos we do on this channel in the future, and press the little bell beside it to be notified of when that future content gets released. And if you guys haven't yet, follow us on all of our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at a Funko Podcast. It'll be listed in the description below. But anyways, guys, that's it for this week's edition of a Funko Podcast, and we hope to see you guys next week. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Hello there. Peace in, peace out.